Hello everyone, I am Pratap here. Today is 23rd September 2025. In this video, I am going to generate different supply demand zone reports useful to the premium subscribers. Even before that, please note we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. All the training lessons are already available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. To access the training lessons at our channel homepage, click on the tab Posts. You get access to this post. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that is having all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course. Here you have all the training lessons are available. You just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one, but according to the training instructions. And you can access all the training instructions at our Telegram channel. I am providing the link to our Telegram channel. Please join at our Telegram channel and refer the training instructions posted in the old messages, or even you can find in the pinned messages. Okay, please make use of this opportunity. Now I am generating different supply demand zone reports. First, I will identify finding the stocks near daily and 75 minutes demand and supply zones so that we can identify high liquidity zones, and you can use those high liquidity zones for the high liquidity zone strategy that I explained in lesson 21.3 video. Okay, first daily time frame, stocks near to the daily demand zone. We got 17 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity daily demand zones from this list. Inox Wind is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Next one, Tata Tech is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. That's it. So we got two daily high liquidity demand zones from this list. Next, for daily time frame, stocks near to the daily supply zone, we got 8 stocks. Let us identify daily high liquidity supply zones from this list. RBL Bank is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We got only one stock from this list. And the next time frame is 75 minutes. Stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone, we got 8 stocks. Let us identify 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. NIFTY oil and gas sector is not listed in F&O. I am ignoring it. Britannia is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. Next, Nuvama is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. That's it. So we have identified two 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. Okay, next, for 75 minutes time frame, stocks near to the 75 minutes supply zone, we got 7 stocks. Let us identify 75 minutes high liquidity supply zone from this list. Now we don't have any 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. So this is about finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for daily and 75 minutes. Next, I will generate NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain reports, starting with NIFTY. Generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. In any supply demand zone chain report, always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. And also always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. You already land one time frame higher is ITF and one more time frame higher is HTF. And apply the rules for all the supply demand zone chain reports. And also don't forget to pause the video when you are moving from one report to another report. Once you complete your study, you can proceed to the next reports. Okay, next, generating a weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. And the nearest demand zone for the current closing price, serial number 23. I will adjust in the middle of the page. Okay. So this is a NIFTY supply demand zone chain. Next, I will generate BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. So I am going back, changing the name to NIFTY Bank. That is nothing but BANKNIFTY. Generating a monthly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating a weekly supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating a daily supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating a 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for BANKNIFTY. Okay, this is about BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. So we have completed both NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain reports. Next, I will be generating sideways, bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. Starting with monthly income trade, sideways long trade setup, entry time frame daily, entry zone, demand zone, here bullish or bearish or sideways. At a daily time frame, I am selecting sideways long, zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd and hands score 11. So we got 5 stocks. And any demand zones, so pierced zones, you just ignore them. And if you want to plan trade, use pierced zone strategy that you land in 28. So out of 5, 1 stock is having pierced zone. So remaining zones are daily demand zones supporting, remaining 4 daily demand zones supporting sideways long trade setup for a monthly income trade. All the entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. Plan your trade only if lesson 30.3 video checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. Okay, next, sideways short trade setup for monthly income trade. Changes are daily supply zone and one more change, sideways short trade setup. Let's filter. We got 1 stock. So entry time frame zone is a daily supply zone. Plan your trade only if less than 30.3 checklist items are satisfied. Okay. Next, bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Changes are daily demand zone. Here bullish, and minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. We got a big list. First 17 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade are displayed here, and all the entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. So we got the first 17 stocks. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So total 31 stocks are filtered. All the 31 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade, and all these entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. So total we got 31 stocks. Out of these 31, there could be some high probability trade setup supported daily demand zones might be available. We need to identify based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. So first strategy is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and then followed by ITF demand zone with ITF EMA confluence. Let's use that filter. First, I will filter based on demand daily and weekly demand zone confluence on these 31 stocks. So I'm adding demand zone confluence filter by selecting daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. I enable the filter and applying the filter on the 31 stocks, and from 31 still we got 23 stocks. So first 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down, so total 23 stocks are filtered. But this list is not good enough for us. We need to further filter this list based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, because the daily demand zone is overlapped with weekly demand zone. So we are checking weekly demand zone with weekly EMA, because in all the stocks weekly trend is uptrend. Sideways trend EMA does not work, but all the stocks trend is uptrend. ITF trend always uptrend in bullish trade setup. Here ITF is weekly. So I'm adding one more filter, EMA confluence on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. Let's filter. And now 17 stocks are filtered. In all these 17, the daily demand zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide less than 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of the zone violation. That is very, very important. Without less than 20 checklist, you should not directly plan trades on these daily demand zones. Okay, this is about this is about the strategy LTF and ITF demand zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. This is one high probability trade setup strategy. And another high probability trade setup strategy is LTF, ITF and even HTF demand zone confluence, and then HTF demand zone with HTF EMA confluence. For the stocks, HTF trend should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Sideways we should eliminate. Okay, let us identify the second strategy based stocks for monthly income trade. First I am removing this ITF EMA filter. Now we should focus on HTF EMA, that we will see after selecting the zone confluence. So zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one, daily and weekly demand zone, already enabled demand zone confluence. Next, daily and monthly demand zone confluence, and weekly and monthly demand zone confluence by enabling all the 3 filters. So we can get a daily, weekly and monthly demand zone confluence supported stocks. So we got 6 stocks. In all the 6 stocks, all these daily demand zones are overlapped with the weekly demand zones, both together again overlapped with monthly demand zone. And a monthly trend, HTF trend is uptrend in 4 stocks. So in these 4 stocks, we should verify any monthly demand zone are having monthly EMA. In that case, the overlapped daily inside the monthly will be having high probability to get success. So let's verify. We have to eliminate last 2 because their monthly trend is sideways. So I'm going back. EMA Confluence at monthly. I'm checking monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. At the same time, trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. 2 stocks are filtered. So these 2 daily demand zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, there are higher chances of zone violation. So we should not forget that point. So this is a bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Okay, next I will generate a bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame daily, entry zone, supply zone, bullish or bearish. At a daily time frame, I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhance score 12, and we got 1 stock. Supporting a bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame zone is daily supply zone. Let us verify this daily supply zone having any high probability to get success. Okay, let us first use LTF and ITF supply zone confluence and then ITF EMA confluence. First supply zone confluence. I am selecting daily and weekly supply zone confluence, applying the filter, and it is filtered. That means this daily supply zone is overlapped with weekly supply zone, and a weekly trend is a downtrend. So let's verify if this weekly supply zone having weekly EMA or not. Because weekly trend is downtrend. So it is filtered. So it is this daily supply zone is having high probability to get success. Provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. So that is very, very important. So this is about bearish trade setup. But one more filter also we should check. LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence is there or not. Let's verify. Removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters I am setting. First one daily and weekly already enabled. Next daily and monthly, weekly and monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got the stock. That means this daily supply zone overlapped with weekly. Both together again overlapped with monthly. Already weekly supply zone, it got weekly EMA. That way it got high probability. But what about monthly? Monthly we can't verify because monthly trend is sideways. But this is a high probability trade setup stock because it satisfied the first strategy. LTF, ITF supply zone and ITF EMA supply zone. HTF supply zone is a bonus. Okay, remember lesson 20 checklist satisfies, then you plan the trade. Otherwise, reject the trade. So this is about bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Okay, now we completed monthly income trade reports. Next, I will generate weekly income trade reports. For weekly income trade, entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone, demand zone. Bullish, bearish, sideways at 75 minutes. I am selecting sideways long reports I am generating. Zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhance score should be 11 for sideways. And third filter, 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count is 0. Pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Which zone? Because we selected 75 minutes demand zone, filter will be applied to 75 minutes demand zone. So pierced 75 minutes demand zones won't be listed in our reports. So let's filter. We got two stocks. Supporting sideways long trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. And these two you can plan trades only if lesson 30.3 video checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. But even before that, these zones already gave some tests. 3 times they already gave each. Okay, next let us look into sideways short trade setup for weekly income trade. The changes are 75 minutes supply zone and here sideways short. We got 4 stocks. Entry time frame zones are 75 minutes supply zone. And you should plan trades in these zones only if lesson 30.3 video checklist items are satisfied, because it is sideways trade setup. Bullish and bearish, you will use lesson 20 checklist. Sideways trade setup, you will be using lesson 30.3 video checklist items. Okay, next let us generate bullish trade setup for bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. The changes are 75 minutes demand zone. Here bullish. And one more change, minimum order enhancer score 12. Let's filter. We got 17 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. And all the entry time frame zones are 75 minutes demand zones. Like that, total we got 17 75 minutes demand zones. Out of these 17 75 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability trade setup 75 minutes demand zones might be available from this list. We need to identify how, based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. Okay, first strategy, LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and thereafter ITF EMA confluence. Those stocks might be having more high probability to get success. So let us apply those filters one by one on these 17 stocks. So I am going to the demand zone confluence. There LTF and ITF demand zone, that is 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence filter is enabled. And applying the filter on the 17 stocks, we got 9 stocks. Only in these 9 stocks, all these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zones. That means 75 minutes demand zone is part of the daily demand zone. And daily trend, ITF trend is uptrend in all the stocks. That's why we can further filter based on daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. So I am going back, EMA confluence at daily. I am checking daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence. By enabling the filter, we got 2 stocks. So these 2 75 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. That is very, very important. Okay, next strategy is LTF, ITF and even HTF demand zone confluence, and after that HTF demand zone with HTF EMA confluence. So let us generate the second strategy based high probability trade setup zones. So I am going back, removing ITF EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First one 75 and daily already enabled, 75 and weekly, and daily and weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 7 stocks. And all these 7 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability. No. One more filter we forgot to add. What is that one more filter? That is a HTF demand zone with HTF EMA confluence. What is HTF weekly? So this weekly demand zone having weekly EMA And EMA should be used only in uptrend, not sideways. How many uptrend are there? 4 stocks. Out of 7, 4 uptrend stocks are there. For those uptrend stocks, weekly demand zone with weekly EMA, then the 75 minutes demand zones are having high probability. So I am going back. EMA Confluence. At weekly time frame, I am checking weekly demand zone with weekly EMA because daily is inside weekly. And inside the daily, we have 75 minutes. That means both together are inside weekly. Ultimately, our entry time frame 75 minutes is inside weekly. So that's why we are checking weekly demand zone with weekly EMA. But at the same time, EMA should not be used in sideways trend. So we don't want sideways trend stocks. So we want only uptrend. Because in bullish trade setup, we always use uptrend, not downtrend. That's why selected up. Let's filter. So we got all the 4 stocks that are having uptrend are filtered. That means these 75 minutes demand zones might be having more high probability to get success. So it is already tested 3 times. Can we plan 4th time? And can we plan the trades in the other stocks? They are all depending on lesson 20 checklist items. If lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied, you can plan the trades. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. That is what you should understand. Okay, this is a bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, let us generate bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes, entry zone, supply zone, bullish or bearish at 75 minutes. I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd and enhanced score 12, and also 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 75 minutes time frame, setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0 indicates the 75 minute supply zone should not pierce. Let's filter. We got 11 stocks supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And the entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zone. So total we got 11 75 minute supply zones. Out of these 11 75 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability trade setup supply zones might be available. We need to filter them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. So first filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, and then followed by ITF supply zone with ITF EMA confluence we have to filter. And those stocks might be having high probability trade setup supported zones based on the first strategy. So let us apply that. First I am going to the supply zone confluence filter parameter. In this I am selecting 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence, that is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Applying on the 11 stocks, we got 10 stocks. In all the 10 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones, all these 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with the daily supply zone. And daily trend is, ITF trend is a downtrend in all the stocks. So we can further filter based on daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Daily supply zone with daily EMA. Anyway, daily trend is downtrend in all the stocks. We can filter. So we got 2 stocks. So these two 75 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success, provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. See, it is already tested 4 times. It gave you already opportunities from the previous reports. Is it going to work again and one more time? That is depending on lesson 20 checklist items. That's why always I say lesson 20 checklist, you have to verify and then only you have to plan the trades. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. I'm not saying every time zone will be violated, but chances are very high. Okay, this is the first strategy, LTF, ITF, supply zone confluence and ITF supply zone with ITF EMA confluence. Next strategy is, excuse me, LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence, and after that HTF supply zone with HTF EMA confluence, provide HTF trend is a downtrend. So let's verify. So I'm going back, removing ITF EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters I am setting. The first one is a 75 minutes and a daily supply zone confluence already enabled. Next 75 minutes and weekly supply zone confluence, daily and weekly supply zone confluence. By enabling all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. So in these 2 stocks, these 75-minute supply zones are overlapped with the daily supply zone, both together again overlapped with weekly supply zone. But weekly trend is a downtrend in only one stock. Let's verify if this weekly supply zone having weekly EMA or not. In the EMA confluence at weekly, checking weekly supply zone with weekly EMA. At the same time, trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It should be downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. Let's filter. So this stock is filtered. That's why this 75-minute supply zone is having more high probability to get success. Provide lesson 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. And moreover, it already gave 3 times success. 3 tests it gave. 3 times opportunities it gave. Okay, this is a bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. We have completed weekly income trade reports. The next one is the daily income trade. So let us generate daily income trade reports. For daily income trade, entry time frame 15 minutes. For sideways long trade setup, entry zone, demand zone. Bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup at entry time frame 15 minutes. I am selecting sideways long trade setup. And zone achievement, violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 11 for sideways. And also 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter, at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count is 0. And pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Which zone? 15 minutes demand zone. Because we are applying filter on this 15 minutes demand zone. Whatever you select, filter will be applied there. So let's filter. We got 6 stocks. 6 stocks are supporting sideways long trade setup for daily income trade, and all the entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. And you can plan trades in these zones only if lesson 30.3 video checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. Apart from that, see, some of the zones already gave some good tests. Okay. Next, let us generate a sideways short trade setup for daily income trade. Changes are 15 minutes supply zone and here sideways short. Let's filter. We got 3 stocks and entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. Already 2 of the 15 minute supply zone gave you some trade opportunities. Can we make use of them again? And we have 0 test. Can we use? You can use only if lesson 30.3 video checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. You should not forget that point. Okay, next let us generate a bullish trade setup for daily income trade. So the changes are 15 minutes demand zone and here bullish and a minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. Let's filter. We got 14 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade and entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zone. So like that total we got 14 stocks. Out of these 14 15 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability trade setup 15 minutes demand zones might be available. We need to filter them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we learned in lesson 27. Two strategies. First strategy, LTF and ITF demand zone confluence, and after that ITF demand zone with ITF EMA confluence. So let's filter based on that strategy. Let us go step by step. First, LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Let us apply on these 14 stocks. So I'm going to the demand zone confluence parameter. Here I am selecting the filter LTF and ITF, that is 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. By enabling the filter and applying on the 14 stocks, we got 10 stocks. So in all the 10 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. Now 15 minutes demand zone is part of 75 minutes demand zone. Next we need to check for EMA confluence on the 75 minutes demand zone, because 75 minutes trend, ITF trend, is uptrend. So I am going back, applying EMA confluence at 75 minutes demand zone by checking 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence or not. So let's filter. We got two stocks. So these two 15 minutes demand zones are having more high probability to get success, provided less than 20 checklist items are satisfied, otherwise higher chances of zone violation. Okay, next filter is LTF, ITF and even HTF demand zone confluence. After that, HTF demand zone with HTF EMA confluence. So I'm going back, removing ITF EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, three filters we have to set. First one is already enabled, 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Next, 15 minutes and daily demand zone confluence, 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, we got 6 stocks. That means in all the 6 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone, both together again overlapped with daily demand zone. And the daily trend should be uptrend. So daily uptrend, 1, 2, 3 stocks are there out of 6. Let's verify in the 3 daily demand zones having any daily EMA confluence. EMA confluence at daily, I am checking daily demand zone with daily EMA. And also trend on the daily should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. Let's filter. One stock is filtered. So this 15 minutes demand zone is having more high probability to get success, provide less than 20 checklist items are satisfied, otherwise higher chances of zone violation. But see, it already gave in the previously 4 opportunities it has given from this zone. Okay, otherwise this is a bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, I will generate a bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frames 15 minutes, entry zone, supply zone for bearish trade setup, and bullish or bearish at 15 minutes. I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be 12 for bullish or bearish, and also 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced, 15 minutes supply zone. So let's filter. We got 11 stocks supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade, and entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zone. So total we got 11 stocks. So we got 11 15 minute supply zones supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Out of these 11 15 minute supply zones, there could be some high probability trade setup 15 minute supply zones could be available. We need to filter them based on different zone confluence and EMA confluence strategies that we land in lesson 27. We have 2 strategies. First strategy is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence, and then ITF supply zone with ITF EMA confluence. So let us apply that strategy first and identify high probability trade setup 15-minute supply zone. So I'm going back in the supply zone Confluence. I'm enabling the filter 15-minute supply zone with 75-minute supply zone Confluence. That is LTF and ITF supply zone Confluence. With this filter, we got 8 stocks out of 11. In all the 11, these 15-minute supply zones are overlapped with 75-minute supply zone. That is the filter. And 75 minutes trend, that is ITF trend, is a downtrend in all the stocks. So we can further filter this list based on 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA Confluence or not. So I'm enabling the filter 75 minute supply zone with the daily EMA Confluence. One stock is filtered. So this 15-minute supply zone having more high probability to get success. Provide less than 20 checklist items are satisfied. Otherwise, higher chances of zone violation. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone Confluence supported stocks, and then HTF supply zone with HTF EMA Confluence. Let us apply the second strategy based high probability zones. Let us identify. So I am going back, removing this ITF EMA filter. In the supply zone Confluence, I should set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone Confluence. Next 15 minutes and daily supply zone Confluence. 75 minutes and daily supply zone Confluence. By enabling all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. In all the 3 stocks, these 15-minute supply zones are overlapped with 75-minute supply zone. Both together again overlapped with daily supply zone. But daily trend is sideways. Sideways trend, EMA Confluence does not give any advantage. So this is bearish trade setup for daily income trade. We have completed all the 3 income trade reports. Next, I will generate finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for all the time frames, starting with yearly. Price closed inside the yearly demand zone. We got 2 stocks. Next, price closed inside the yearly supply zone. No stocks. Next, half yearly time frame. Price closed inside the half yearly demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next, price closed inside the half yearly supply zone. We got 3 stocks. Next time frame is a quarterly. Stocks near to the quarterly demand zone. We got 1 stock. Next, stocks near to the quarterly supply zone. No stocks. Next, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. We got 22 stocks. Let us further filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA Confluence. That is quarterly demand zone with quarterly EMA. At the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. So it can be up or down. Let's filter. We got 14 stocks. Okay, next, price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 15 stocks. Let us further filter based on quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA Confluence. And also trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. It can be up or down. We got 4 stocks. Okay, next time frame is monthly. Stocks near to the monthly demand zone. We got 3 stocks. Next, stocks near to the monthly supply zone. We got 2 stocks. Next, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 18 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 23 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. And also trend on the monthly should not be sideways. We got 10 stocks. Okay, next, price closed inside the monthly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 32 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence. And also trend on the monthly should not be sideways. We got 10 stocks. So this is monthly time frame. Next time frame is weekly. Stocks near to the weekly demand zone. We got 12 stocks. Next, stocks near to the weekly supply zone. We got 6 stocks. Next, price closed inside the weekly demand zone. First 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 44. We can further filter based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. And also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. We got a big list again. Okay, first 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 29 stocks are filtered. Weekly demand zones with weekly EMA confluence without a sideways trend. Okay, next, price closed inside the weekly supply zones. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 46 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. And also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. And we got 15 stocks. This is about weekly time frame. Next time frame daily already generated in the beginning of the report. So the next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near to the 125 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 125 minutes supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Next time frame 75 minutes is already generated. So the next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near to the 25 minutes demand zone. We got 11 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 25 minutes supply zone. We got 10 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near to the 15 minutes demand zone. We got 5 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 15 minutes supply zone. We got 3 stocks. Next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near to the 5 minutes demand zone, we got 10 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 5 minute supply zone, we got 12 stocks. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. And in the final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. So first 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. And also I'm scrolling the list down. While scrolling the list, whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video. After your study, you can proceed further. Okay, I'm scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let us all meet again in our next video. Thank you.